In this session, we're going to look at how to use matched queries in Power BI. So the first thing would be importing the data to Power BI, and we are using the Power Editor. So you can see this is the Power Query Editor. So click on the new source, and we're importing data that is in form of Excel. So click on Excel. The first data that I want us to import is income per person. So when the navigator opens, you'll be able to see these different tables in that workbook, but the only table that we want to import in this case is data. So check on data and then OK. So we have our data table here, and you can see that from this table, we do have proper column headers, but it seems that the column headers are on row number 1. So we're going to use this feature, use first row as headers. That is done. So the next thing is, if you look at the data, it seems that the data is pivoted. We can hardly answer any question using this data. So we want to unpivot this data. To unpivot this data, I want us to click on the first column, then right click, and then unpivot other columns. So the data is now unpivoted. And using this data now, we can be able to answer even complex questions. Like what is the income of a person who is living in Afghanistan in the year 1950. You can see the income is around 753.3187954. We could not be able to answer that question when the data was pivoted. So we want to rename this column. So we can rename the first column country. And then the second column, we can rename it year. The third column, I want us to rename it income. Right, that is done. The other thing is that we can rename this query income. To rename the query, go to the queries pane, and then right click and then rename. So we want to rename this income. We have renamed it income. We want to import the second table. So we need to go to new data, then the workbook. And the second table is going to be total population. For those people who will be using the recorded version of this video, then I'll be able to provide links so that you can be able to download the tables. So when the navigator opens, you can see these are the different tables that we have and the total population workbook. So we want only to import data and then OK. So the same thing applies that our data doesn't have proper column headers. So we use first row as headers. And then we unpivot this data because it is pivoted. So click on the first column, then right click, and then unpivot other columns. That is done. So let us rename the column. So the first column, I want us to rename it country. The second column, I want us to rename it year. And then the third column, I want us to rename it population. All right. And the last thing, we can rename this query population. So the thing that is remaining is merging these two queries. So to merge the queries, I want us to look for the merge queries feature on the Home tab, then click on that dropdown that is there, and I want us to use merge queries as new. So we are told to select the tables and the matching columns to create a matched table. We have selected population as our first table, and then we're going to select income as our second table. And there are several joins that you can use if you want to join two tables, like you have the left outer, we got right outer, full outer, inner left anti-joint, and right anti-joint. You can see the description for every joint here. Like if you look at the left outer joint, in this case, you're going to have all the rows from the first column and the matching rows from the second table. All the rows from the first table and the matching rows from the second table. For the right outer joint, you're going to have all the rows from the second table and the matching rows from the first table. While for the outer joint, you're going to have all the rows in both tables. Inner joint, this is the joint that I want us to use in this case. And for an inner joint, you only get the matching rows. We have the left anti-joint, where you have only the rows in the first table, and right anti-joint, where you got only rows in the second table. So let us click on inner joint, and then we have to select the matching columns. So click on country on the population table, then control click on year. The same thing to the income, click on country, then year. Then you can see the number of matching rows out of the total number of rows. So we have 17,221 rows that are matching out of the possible 22,127. Then okay. So we have query number 3 that is going by the name March to 1, and it contains country, year, and population. We have an income here, but it is containing this expandable button. So if you click on the expandable button, then you can see it is trying to load some columns here. I want us to select only income, and then okay. So we have the merged query containing country, year, population, and income. We can rename these properly. So instead of having income 1, we can just have income. So that is how you merge queries using Power BI. If you want to use this table, merge one for analysis, then you click on close, then apply.